Greetings, today is October 13th, 2024. This is meteorologist Ruben Garcia. In this video, I will be providing an update on the forecast related to Invest 94, which now has a low probability of cyclonic development over the next 7 days as it approaches sectors of the eastern and northeastern Caribbean. It is important for residents of the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cuba, and Jamaica to stay alert to its evolution, as many models project it could develop into a tropical storm by the end of this week. Additionally, at the end of the video, I will be discussing a low-pressure system that could develop just east of Nicaragua. Although the National Hurricane Center has not marked the area for cyclonic development, the American model insists that a tropical storm could develop in this sector. I will be explaining the probabilities of development and why the National Hurricane Center has not marked the area. After several weeks of consecutive cyclonic activity in the Atlantic, today we finally have no active cyclones. This comes after a very active period during October, which is unusually late in the hurricane season. The lack of active tropical cyclones is due to an unfavorable phase of the Madden-Julian oscillation, which promotes stability and few thunderstorm areas across the Atlantic. However, this could change by midweek, as a Kelvin wave will be moving through the Caribbean and the Atlantic, potentially helping the formation of a low-pressure system in the Western Caribbean and improving conditions for Invest 94 as it approaches the Caribbean. As I mentioned a few days ago, we will be paying close attention to the Caribbean during late October and November because temperatures in this area remain well above normal, which could result in late-season cyclonic activity. Not only are temperatures in this region above normal, but they are also approaching the levels we see in the Western Pacific. It is important to remember that the hurricane season is not over. It ends on November 30th. Historically, we have seen powerful hurricanes form in the Caribbean during October and November. Let's now focus on the area where Invest 94 is located. You can see that this low-pressure system has a well-defined circulation, but at the moment, it lacks thunderstorm activity over the center of circulation due to dry and stable air affecting the system. Fortunately, as it moves west-southwest, conditions will not be favorable for development for at least the next 4 to 5 days. However, when it reaches the Caribbean, it may encounter a more humid atmosphere, and with the help of the Kelvin wave, there could be the development of a tropical depression. A strong high-pressure system in the Atlantic is the reason why all trajectory models show a west-southwestward movement over the next 3 to 4 days, eventually shifting west-northwest, passing near or over parts of the Lesser and Greater Antilles. The good news is that, at the moment, the models suggest that the worst-case scenario is a moderate tropical storm, so we are not talking about a hurricane approaching this region. However, we will remain vigilant for any changes in the projections. Let's look at what the global models show. Starting with the American model for Thursday night, it shows a strong tropical wave crossing the Lesser Antilles and then maintaining a track south of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic as a weak tropical storm. Under this scenario, it would be a rain event for some of the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic. In the long term, however, Invest 94 could reach the central and southwestern Caribbean, where conditions may be more favorable for strengthening. On the other hand, the European model, which has been consistent in developing a tropical depression or storm by the end of the week, shows a strong tropical wave on Friday that, as it crosses near or over the Lesser Antilles, develops into a weak tropical depression or storm just north of the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico between Friday and Saturday, eventually moving westward towards the Bahamas and eastern Cuba. As is typical, notice the difference in location between the two best models, which is due to the fact that a projection beyond 7 days is unreliable and changes are likely in the long term. It is impossible to know where Invest 94 may head after crossing near or over the Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico. We also have the German model, which develops a tropical storm that stays quite far to the northeast of the Caribbean, similar to the UK model, which shows a possible tropical depression passing hundreds of miles northeast of the Caribbean. We have different scenarios, ranging from a track northeast of the Caribbean to one further west, with the most probable scenario being a track toward the west at this time. Let's also check the ensemble members of the American model. Some of them develop a weak tropical depression or storm as it passes over the Antilles, but this represents only 10 to 15% of the ensemble members of the GFS model. However, the ensemble members of the European model, in this case, show many members developing a tropical depression or weak tropical storm near Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and the Bahamas, with over 70% of the members showing the development of a tropical depression just east of the Lesser Antilles. That's why it's important to monitor this system. For now, there's no need to worry, but we will stay vigilant to its evolution, especially since the National Hurricane Center has marked this area with a 30% probability of development over the next 7 days. Now, let's talk about the Western Caribbean, where we currently have a significant area of convection east of Nicaragua and Honduras. While cyclonic development is not anticipated in this area over the next few days, we do know that a broad circulation, perhaps a Central American gyre, could form and lead to the development of a low-pressure system either east of Nicaragua or north of Honduras. This low-pressure system could also benefit from the passing Kelvin wave, and for example, the GFS model projects that by the end of this week, a tropical cyclone could develop near Nicaragua and Honduras. However, it is the only model showing cyclonic development, so the chances of development are extremely low. As I mentioned in my last video, the GFS model has historically had problems with developing cyclones in this area that turn out to be false alarms. This is because the GFS model has a bias towards developing vorticity from Colombia and moving it into the Caribbean region, often projecting cyclonic development that almost never materializes. While some ensemble members of the GFS model develop a tropical depression or storm in the Western Caribbean, the reality is that none of the European ensemble members show cyclonic development. Therefore, we suspect that the GFS model is wrong in its projection. However, it is always important to stay alert in case other models join this solution. Regardless of whether cyclonic development occurs, rainy days are expected, particularly for Honduras and Nicaragua. The GFS model projects between 100 and 300 millimeters of accumulated rain this week. Of course, these maximum rainfall totals are influenced by the GFS model's projection of a tropical cyclone. What I mean is that if no cyclone develops, rainfall totals will be significantly reduced, as the European model shows, with between 75 and 150 millimeters of rain over the next 7 days. Here at Hurricane Info, I'll be monitoring the situation in the Western Caribbean and closely following the progress of Invest 94. For now, everyone can remain calm, as there is no imminent cyclonic threat to any region in the Americas. To avoid missing any of the videos I'll be recording this week, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to click the bell to receive notifications when I upload new videos. Well, that's all from me for now. I hope you all have a great Sunday. See you later.